dad's dream to talk about his favorite team with the son of digging the stats. Come and join us, nerding on the Dbacks.
Hello, welcome to
Nerding on the Dbacks,
yes,
the one
and only
father-son baseball show
in America.
That's right. I don't think they have this over in Belgium.
Sure.
We haven't done Belgium yet. I hear they make good waffles. I never made it to Belgium when I was in Europe.
I've never even heard of that country.
Have you ever heard of a Belgian waffle? No. Huh. Okay. All right. That was a big thing when I was growing up. I guess that's not something they talk about much anymore, huh? Belgian waffles. Yeah. It's gone the way of the dodo from a pop culture standpoint. I hear now the skibbity toilet is the thing, not the Belgian waffle. That's
Yeah.
the evolution of pop culture. All right. So thank you for joining us. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Just got to get through some housekeeping at the beginning. And of course, channel your inner kindergartner. And
Share.
all right. Now that we got that out of the way, if you're joining us for the first time, and even if you're not, you kind of know, you kind of know this already, but rather than discuss individual games or series, we prefer to look kind of at the big picture of the season, what's going on, and we focus more on performance than production, which is kind of a difference. If a guy hits 10, just as a stupid example, if a guy hits 10 line drives and they're all at the shortstop, that's a pretty impressive performance. 10 line drives and 10 at bats, but he's going to have a 0 batting average. And so that's not so good of production. And so we want the performance, not the production, because over the long run, the performance is going to become the production. And if there's some wicked good production with a wicked bad performance behind it, which happens sometimes, we want to talk about that too. So, all right. Let's see.
For personal, we
this is all old.
I know, but me and my dad over here, we went slip and sliding.
Yeah,
That
on
was
Father's
really fun.
Day.
Father's Day.
Yeah, that's how we celebrated some Father's Day. Did some slip and slide, and then we also did a lot of swimming. And we went to the zoo, the Phoenix Zoo.
It
That was the day before, but
it was okay.
yeah, it was okay. We did get to ride on a baby shark.
Yes.
That part was cool.
I convinced them to do that.
Motorized cart style, but it was that was fun. So yeah. And let's talk about some Dbacks and their baby sharking. That's right. Let's go Dbacks. So the fight to 500, they keep winning those 3-game series just over and over. They split the game with the 4-game series with the Padres, but other than that, they just keep winning 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3 against all these teams. And they're now to just 1 game below 500.
I need this prediction.
And as of this recording, the Dbacks are alone in second place in the NL West right now.
Yes. Sort of.
No, the Padres play tonight, and if they win, the D-backs will still be in second place, but they'll be tied for second place. Technically in third place.
It's either tonight or yesterday, whichever this one
Yeah,
comes out.
so the pod is, you're going to be listening to this on Friday, but we're recording Thursday afternoon. So as of this moment, the D-backs just took 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, and like I said, moved them into second place all by themselves in the NL West, and they have a tenuous grasp on the third and final wild card spot in the National League.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Wait, what does tenuous mean?
Tenuous means it's very weak. And what I mean by that is...
sound like your knee?
Yes, that's not my knee now, more like my knee pre-surgery. Yeah, like it was, it was about to fall apart completely if I didn't get something done to it. That's tenuous. Now it's just kind of painful, but it's completely secured, like nothing bad. Yeah, so that's a good explanation. That's a good analogy. I like it. We like analogies around here.
Yeah.
So when you're listening to this on Friday or over the weekend, if the Padres won on Thursday afternoon, the Dbacks will be tied with the Padres for second place in the NL West, like they have been for what feels like pretty much the entire season. But the Padres will also be ahead of the Dbacks in the wild card as they hold the tiebreaker over the Dbacks at this point in the season. So if the Cardinals won and the Padres won, the Dbacks will no longer be in a wild card spot. I don't know why I'm talking about all of this. It's June 20th. So we should probably just kind of skip over this. But the reason that I wanted to say it all to get to, because it's kind of nuts that that's the situation. And I know we've still got, almost 100 games left to play, 90-ish games left to play on the season, most teams. And if they, it's kind of crazy how the wild card situation is in the National League right now. We have 9 teams right now. 9. I threw up 10. I meant 9. For those of you who are just listening to me, I meant I threw up 10 fingers, and I meant to only throw up 9. Yeah, there we go. And so there are 9 teams within 2 games of each other fighting for 2 wild card spots. 9 teams for 2 wild card spots. That's going to be
7.
Are not going to make it.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
I know my math.
I like how you're keeping those skills sharp during the summer, my son. So, you know what? We never did that part. We never said, I'm Dad, a.k.a. Chris.
Oh, I'm Son, a.k.a. the city. So, Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix. Yes, that's awesome. I love it. Very cool. So with the D-backs clawing their way back from like 6 games under 500 to just 1 game under 500, we want to talk a little bit about the players who helped the team get there, and not so much about the players that have been holding them back, because honestly, that list, those numbers, I feel like at some weeks during this season are who's cold right now, could have been on the who's hot list. They have been playing exceptionally good baseball as they've made up ground, lots of ground over the past few weeks. So here we go. Let's get into it. And what do we call this segment, Phoenix, since it's your segment?
Dun, 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 dun. Who's hot and who's not?
That's right. And how do we get started?
Da, 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 da.
We're going to talk about,
Yeah, who's hot, who's not?
And so, of course, we're going to start with who's hot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
I said it's getting hot in here.
All right. So who's been hot over the past 10 days?
So for our contestants, we got the pitchers. I'm gonna start out with the pitchers. So for the starting pitcher, I got Jordan Monty Montgomery. He has 10 innings pitched, or 10.2 innings pitched. He has 4 runs. Three of them are earned. 10 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 1 home run.
That's right. He pitched 1 incredibly good game and another goodish game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Monty. We needed that. Helped us get there. All right.
So for the relieving pitchers, I put one of Dad's favorites, Justin Martinez.
Yes.
He has 4 innings pitched, 1 run, I guess all earned, but it's only 1 earned. So
1 run, and it was earned.
3 strikeouts, 0 walks, and 0 home runs.
Yeah. All right. J-Mart. Yeah.
Sounds like a grocery store.
Yeah, well, that's what
Welcome to J-Mart.
just about everybody who has the last name Martinez, their nickname just turns into the first letter of their first name followed by Mart. So that's a very, very common nickname that's given to all of those guys. It's kind of like if your last name's Rodriguez, starting to detect a pattern here with the style of last names.
D-Rod, G-Rod, and Rod.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. So Yeah. So J Mart, yeah, I know I bring it up once in a while, but I just, like a week into his tenure, I made the call out that I think he's probably already the best reliever in the Diamondbacks bullpen. And he has been the best reliever in the Diamondbacks bullpen since that moment, for sure. Pretty much since the moment he came up, he's been the best reliever in the D-backs bullpen. The kid is just outstanding. I absolutely love J Mart. And
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about him now and just heap some more praise on him, because I actually don't have Martinez at all in our discussion for the week. So
Oh, wow.
I do have Montgomery, which is why we just kind of blew through that one quick. And but yeah, Martinez, stud. And actually, he gave up an earned run. He's washed up. Move along.
I just realized our two hot pitchers, first name both start with J and last name both start with M.
Yeah. One is Monty, one is Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SuperMart.
SuperMart. That's actually a better. I like that. That is we're gonna start getting that. We're gonna hashtag the living daylights out of that nickname on X. SuperMart. That's such a great nickname for Justin Martinez. All right.
All right, for the hot hitters.
Yeah, let's go, kid.
Finally, after all these games of baseball, I could finally put Rookie of the Year 2022 on here. Corbin Carroll.
2023.
2022 to 2023 season.
That's fair. He was great in his little call up in 2022 as well.
All right, so yeah, he one dotted the OPS.
Woo!
1.04. Oh my God, what is going on? I need some water.
Yeah, you do. So with this, I'm going to do a little interlude. All right, he's back.
Elevator music. Okay, I'm back. The demon inside me tried to come out, but it didn't work. So, like I was saying, Corbin Carroll, 1.044 in his OPS, 36 plate appearances, 4 doubles, and 2 triples. And he has 6 walks and 10 runs, 6 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases.
Yes. Let's hear it for Corbin Carroll. Getting on the hot list. Yeah. Woo. All right. Yeah. Oh, it's so good to see.
I love you.
And then
too.
this next man is no stranger to the hot list for the D-backs.
We got Jock Peterson.
That's right.
He one dotted too. One dotted with
1.1.
1,160 OPS, 29 plate appearances, 1 double, 2 home runs, 3 walks, 7 runs, 10 RBIs, and 1 stolen base, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah. He actually, Jock is actually, he's not very fast, right? I should know this. I don't even want to. I'm going to guess Jock Peterson is somewhere around like the 40th percentile for sprint speed in Major League Baseball. I don't know that, but I'm taking a guess. That's probably about where he is. That said, he's a very smart base runner. Like Paul Goldschmidt, former Diamondbacks first baseman, all-star first baseman, possible, staring at an opportunity at making the Hall of Fame if he has a couple more good seasons here. And he's always been another guy who is a great base runner despite not being very fast. And Jock, yikes, Jock was awesome. He's been constantly going first to third and first to home and second to home. Like, it's been great.
It sounded like you were trying to say Jock is.
Jock is.
Because you were literally saying Jock is. And it sounded like Jaqques.
You mean the 40th man on the 40-man roster, Jacques?
Jacques.
Yeah, they have a guy
Jacques.
named Jacques on their 40-man roster that they could call up at any moment, except for he's absolutely terrible at AAA. And so I don't think he's going to be getting a call at all this season. He's one of the guys, I'm actually going to discuss it a little bit. I don't know why he's still on the 40-man roster. I don't get it. Like, you cut Logan Allen. Yeah, I guess we discussed that already. You cut Logan Allen when you could have just cut Jaquez. Maybe Logan Allen didn't have any options left. I bet that's why they cut Logan Allen. Okay, so
All right,
there's going to be a surprise with that story, though, later.
for the Ice Babies.
Ice, ice, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Lucy goes here. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the pitchers here. Starting pitcher, Slade Cecconi.
Yeah, Slade. We were at that game.
We were at that game.
Yeah, all right.
That game.
That
you know
game.
which game.
Yeah, you do. Slade, we're looking at you. Tell us what happened in that one game. Almost entirely in that one game.
It went bad. All right, so he has 9 innings pitched,
Yep.
7 runs, all earned, 10 strikeouts, 0 walks, 2 home runs hit on him.
Yeah, so the 0 walks is great, and the 10 strikeouts is actually really good too. 2 home runs is not good, but it shouldn't result in giving up 7 runs. He was just getting smoked by the Angels when we were there. It was just single and double and single and double over and over and over. And then
The first hit was literally on the first pitch.
Yep. And but then he came back and he threw 6 scoreless innings and struck out 6.
Maybe
and
we just-
obviously he had no walks just yesterday. So
Maybe we shouldn't go to Dbacks games anymore.
we'll test that theory next week. But I mean, here's the thing. They blew out a team in the one game that we went to, and then they got blown out in the other game that we went to, which is kind of like a microcosm of D-backs games. They're just, I mean, with the exception of like this past series with the Nationals, so many of their games have just been, we've discussed it, 4 runs or more, just like crazy. What percentage of their games, win or lose, have been a run difference of 4 runs or more. Yeah. So anyway, Slade has been interesting. Go ahead, talk about our relief pitcher.
All right, so for the relief pitcher, it's Tommy Henry.
Yep.
Yep.
Who was once a starting pitcher.
Yep, Tommy Danger. All right, so he has 4 innings pitched.
For the D-backs.
4 innings. I feel like we're going to get sued by Henry Danger. 5 runs, all earned, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 2 home runs.
All right, Tommy. You're actually, I don't even think you're still on the roster. So I hope you pitch better at AAA.
Yeah.
You might be wearing a different team's jersey by the end of the season, though. So we'll find out.
You might wanna turn to a superhero again. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. Let's talk about who our cold hitters are.
All right.
Because Tommy Henry's not worth talking about. Tommy Henry is just, you know how we discussed the bullpen being awesome with the Fab Five, and then they just have their rotating position of 2 pitchers that just constantly, it's just like bring them in, burn out their arms, send them back to AAA, bring them in, burn out their arms. Just they keep rotating a guy. Tommy Henry is just one of those guys now who's getting brought in, getting burned, sent back to AAA. And so, yeah.
I love how you said we're not going to talk about him. Then you go on to talk about him. So for the ice hitters, we got Gabriel Moreno. My band teacher's last name was Moreno too. So,
All right.
yep, just a fun fact. I play trombone. Another fun fact. All right, so enough about me. More about Gabby. All right, he had .621 OPS, 28 plate appearances, 3 doubles, 5 walks, 3 runs, and 4 RBIs. 0 stolen bases.
This is what I love. It's been 10. This is the last 9 games, I think, that they've played that we're recapping with this who's not. And that's not that bad. If that's been the worst hitter in your lineup's been doing pretty good. That part's awesome. I love it. A 620 OPS is your worst hitter, me like regular, in the lineup, that means your lineup is playing some good baseball. So let's go on to number 2 because this part's even crazier.
All right, so for the second Ice Baby, we got Perdomo, because I don't want to say his first name.
We call him Jerry.
Jerry Perdomo. That just sounds wrong. .730 OPS, 27 plate appearances, 1 double, 2 walks, 3 runs, and 1 RBI.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? He came back from the injured list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he's gotten a hit in every game that he's played in since he came back. Here's how good the Dbacks team has been. That a 730 OPS. I mean, it's actually, it's just customary that we have been putting the 2 coldest hitters on this list every week, but that's not even cold. Like 730 is still an above average OPS for Major League Baseball this season. So, that's really just like a hats off. I think snaps for the entire D-backs lineup here. Yeah. I was actually looking because PHX bets on X. That's a weird sentence.
I don't even know what you just said.
on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, there's an account, PHX Bets, and I had put on there in regards to their matchup, their line. I responded to them that the Nationals were a slight favorite in the game on Monday, which I responded how that's pretty fair. The D-backs don't hit right-handed pitching very well, and Cole Irvin has been a pretty good pitcher. And they responded with, well, actually, in their last 15 games versus right-handed starters, they haven't been too bad. And so I went to go look for the month of June, and in the month of June, they've actually moved themselves just for the month of June. They haven't been good, but I would say they've been about above average. They have moved themselves into, I think they have the 13th best OPS in the month of June versus right-handed pitching. So not great by any means, but passable, certainly. Like, you'd like to be in the top 10, but 13th is not too bad. So, good for them. They've, the move has been coincided almost entirely with one player, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so Perdomo, honestly, Gabby, even at a 621 from a catcher for a 7-game stretch from him, that's not too bad. So this team's really hitting well. Anything else you wanted to say about any of these guys?
Let's the who's not. Let's get you on that.
Yeah.
Who's hot?
I mean, Slade almost put himself back on the who's. He almost put himself on the who's hot and who's not. He had the best and worst pitching performance of the past 10 days, both.
Slade Cecconi the first game, Slade Cecconi the second game.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so very cool. Well, thanks for that, Phoenix. That's awesome. I love it.
You're welcome. I'm here all week, folks.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about the team. The starting pitching in general has been looking better, kind of like what we referenced with the lineup. Montgomery has had 2 impressive outings in a row. And here's the great part about this. His velo is up about a half a mile per hour on his four-seam fastball over the last couple of starts. And is it the start of a velo increase trend? I sure hope so. Yeah, because we've been talking about it. He doesn't need that velo to be a decent pitcher, but man, it sure does help. He's going to need that velo. He's going to need to bump that about another half mile, or if not full mile per hour up, if he's going to be the kind of pitcher that's going to opt out of his contract to go and go land a big one this offseason. Otherwise, D-backs are going to have him on the team next year. But he certainly has looked good these last 2 games, had a lot of strikeouts. He was the top pitcher on the Who's Hot list. So, yeah, so that part's been good. And then after that blip in San Diego, Pfaadt looks like he's back on the path to being that number 2/number 3 level pitcher. And what I mean by a number 2 2/3 Phoenix is that Pfaadt looks like the kind of pitcher that you could certainly trust to start a playoff game, one of your first 3 playoff games. You don't want him to be starting game 1, but you're giving yourself a good chance if he's your second or third game 2 or game 3 starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's certainly been the leader of this rotation still while Gallen's been down. And even with that start versus the Padres a couple weeks ago, he's been absolutely terrific over the last 2 months now. Even when you do roll that ugly Padres start into it. So Nelson continues to pitch like a serviceable 5-6 pitcher. And so by 5-6 pitcher, I mean, he's not hurting you if he's he's not really hurting you if he's the 5th starter in your rotation, but you'd really prefer he's more depth and fills in when there's injuries, which there's injuries. So he's on the problem is right now he's their 3rd starter, and that you do not want out of Ryan Nelson. So they don't need him to be excellent. They just need him to keep us in games. We just need him to keep us in games. So, and he's been doing that for the most part. He doesn't throw up too many awesome, like he doesn't get slammed too much, a la Slade Cecconi, or even Brandon Pfaadt versus the Padres. It does happen, but it doesn't happen too often. But he also doesn't throw any like one-run gems out there. He's probably going to give up three or 4 runs every single start in 5 to 6 innings, and that's kind of what Ryan Nelson is. So,
Don't slap your mic.
I know that was terrible. All right, and then we get to the mystery that is Slade Cecconi. This guy after having possibly the worst start by any D-back starting pitcher all season versus the Angels last week, he comes back and throws one of the best games by any D-back starting pitcher this season versus the Nationals. It's just, man, this dude is just all over the map. And he's kind of displayed it. His upside is likely higher than that of Nelson. Nelson is just kind of a below average, not going to get, on his best days, he looks like a 4 pitcher. On his worst days, he looks like a 6 pitcher, but he pretty much stays in that range. Where Slade literally can look like an ace out there, and then he can also look like he doesn't even belong in Major League Baseball. It's just ridiculous. So like I said, its inconsistency is maddening.
Madness.
It is in the Slade Cecconi. What?
I need to go.
You need to go?
Yeah, I need to go. I need to go pee.
Oh, you need to go use the okay. All right. I'm just gonna hold it down here for a moment while Phoenix goes to take care of himself. Boy, that sounded terrible. All right. So, like I said, Cecconi is weird. And then in Gallen's absence so far while he's been on the IL, Torey Lovullo has really, instead of using a 5th starter, he's pretty much opted to go to a bullpen game in Gallen's spot. And it's kind of been a mixed bag of results, as Phoenix talked about. Thomas Henry has been filling in as a bulk pitcher in those games, as well as Logan Allen, who I referenced earlier as being DFA'd by the team. And in those bulk roles, while Gallen has been gone, they have both just been absolutely crushed. So, Gallen can't get back soon enough. I hope he's back and soon, but it might be. And I do want to say we got Christian Mena, who's been okay down at AAA. It'd be nice it would sort of be nice to see him get a spot start in place of Gallen, but I kind of get the feeling that the team doesn't. Welcome back, Phoenix. All right,
I'm back.
So I kind of get the feeling, we're talking about Christian Mena here, I kind of get the feeling that the team doesn't want to burn an option for just a start or 2 with Christian Mena. On top of that, he's also hit a rough patch at AAA recently, though that's just kind of statistically speaking, and it's hard to gauge how good he's actually been based on especially pitcher numbers at AAA, because he could just be working especially as a starting pitcher, he could just be working on improving a particular pitch. He may have a mandate from management that he needs to throw his changeup 30 times a game so that he can work on improving it and just refining it. Or maybe he needs to be throwing a curveball 40 times a game, whatever it is. So they might see something that they're working in a way that is suboptimal to getting results, but it is marching towards making him a better future major league starter. Good Lord. Put those down.
I can't eat.
No, you can't eat. You're on microphone. That's going to sound ridiculous. Just wait. So
This is already going terrible.
the bullpen continues to rock it in high and medium leverage situations, which we talked about, the Fab Five, right? And then Bryce Jarvis, it's all smoke and mirrors. I don't understand how he does it. Do you know that reference? You've never heard smoke and mirrors?
Smoking mirrors?
Smoke and mirrors.
No.
No? Okay, so smoke and mirrors is it's a term that is used for essentially referencing a magic trick, in that whatever you're seeing in front of you isn't real. They're just using smoke and mirrors to kind of create an illusion of something that looks really cool and fantastic, but isn't actually happening. And so we use it in sports analogies of it's all smoke and mirrors, meaning I don't know how he's getting this done. His walk rate is terrible. His strikeout rate is terrible. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs, but he doesn't get a lot of ground balls either. He has a lot of fly ball hits. So I got a lot of concern that at some point, I've used the phrase in the past, right? He's going to turn back into a pumpkin. Basically, no, like
I don't think so.
From Cinderella, right?
I don't think so.
No. Did you get that phrase?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I just think
I've seen the movie.
Yeah. I don't think it's very real what he's doing, and it's probably the ground's probably gonna come out from underneath him. But in the time, I've got all kinds of little phrases here. But until then, it's working for now, and the bullpen needs that in their low leverage situations. But outside of that, they are still getting rocked in low leverage, except for Bryce Jarvis. Even Bryce Jarvis gets rocked. He just doesn't give up runs. I don't understand it. But, and I also don't understand how the team is continuing to claim bad relief pitchers off of the waiver wire to plug in at the back of the bullpen.
What's the waiver wire?
Yeah. So like, if a player is on the active roster and the team, so there's the 40-man roster, right? You get to put 40 players on that roster.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. And then, so if they're on the 40-man roster, a team can only have 40 players that they can bring up and down at any time. Okay. And so then within the 40-man roster, there's the 26-man roster. And so if a player is out of options, they're out of option years, so they can't be sent back down to the minors, but you don't want to keep them anymore, a team will waive that player. Usually it's out of options. Sometimes a team will waive a player just when they're in the minors because they want to move them off of the 40-man roster. But if they just want to move a player down, so we'll go into this a little bit more, but they are signing basically players. Have you played fantasy football at all? So, when a player gets dropped from a team, they go onto the waiver wire, and then you have your order of the order in which the teams can claim that player, right? So it works kind of the same way in baseball. It goes from the team with the worst record gets the first claim on a player when he goes through waivers, and the team with the best record gets the last claim, and then it just goes down. So basically, it's players that, and it's usually relief pitchers. The vast majority of players who end up on the waiver wire during the regular season are relief pitchers, and so they're getting released. These guys are essentially getting released from their current team.
Yeah.
And they're going onto the waiver wire, and there's other guys who other teams can then pick them up. So the D-backs have continued to claim bad relief pitchers off of the waiver wire to plug in the back of the bullpens. When there have been a couple of relief pitchers just in the past week or so that have slid through waivers that were kind of decent arms that would have been an actual asset or upgrade to what the D-backs got going on in that 6, 7, 8 spot in their bullpen. And, or at least more likely, I shouldn't say they would be an asset. They got waived for a reason. They're not great pitchers in the first place, but they've had a track record of success in the recent seasons up until this season, and maybe even this season their underlying peripherals look good. They just, for whatever reason, have given up more runs than the team just needs to cut them. And you're going to notice there's a couple of these guys come from one team who has the best bullpen in baseball, and so it kind of makes sense that they had to waive some of their players, and so they probably would have been a better, more likely to be an asset to the D-backs. So Jay Jackson was waived by the Twins. We talked about that, how it would have been great if the D-backs had signed him. He's still got he gave up a lot of runs, but he had like 8 strikeouts per 9 with 3 walks per 9 and 1 home run per 9, which is what you like. That's a good, not great, but good number. If that's your 7th or 8th reliever out of the bullpen, you're in a good position. Nick Avila was waived by the Giants recently.
Why are we talking about the other teams waiving these people?
Because I'm going to get to that. So Nick Avila was waived by the Giants. D-backs passed on him. Diego Castillo was also waived by the Twins. Now, Diego Castillo, he went unclaimed. Nobody claimed him on the waiver wire, and he elected to be a free agent. So the D-backs could still sign him to a minor league contract if they wanted to, which I don't think they're going to, but it's there. Instead, they claimed Brandon Hollowell from the Rockies. Why are you claiming a pitcher from the Rockies? They just claimed him. They claimed Brandon Hughes earlier in the season.
Oh my God, how many Brandons
I
do
know.
you need?
And he has not been very good. And then recently they just claimed Thiago Vero, and I'm not sure I'm saying that name correctly. That's
I'm sure the
he's from
Varios wouldn't be mad at you.
and here's the thing. Admittedly, Vierio, I don't know.
V.
V. Admittedly, TV, we're just gonna call him that, could be all right. He has in the minors, he had like a 12.5 strikeout per 9 with 4 walks per 9. He looks like he could be a decent pitcher. So I'm not as frustrated with that one. But on top of that, they're hanging on to other guys on their 40-man roster who are relief pitchers and are not prospects and will likely never throw a pitch for the D-backs in 2024 and be cut after the season. Instead of calling up, just cutting them and rotating through guys who they haven't tried yet. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but Francisco Morales or Dakota Chalmers. I'd like to see those guys get a shot. It's kind of perplexing to me that they haven't yet.
Perplexing?
What's perplexing? Confusing, essentially.
Oh.
I'm stumped. I don't really have a good answer for it. I kind of understand, for example, why they haven't called up Christian Mena, despite him being probably their best pitcher at AAA so far this season. I get why you don't call him up. He's only 21 years old. You don't want to burn an option at that age. You want to get all 3 of your option years for when he's 22, 23, and 24. And then you also don't want to start his clock if you don't need to. So I get why you don't call him up. But actually, now that I think about it, they already did burn an option year. He's on the 40-man roster, and by having him in the minors, but they don't want to start his clock for team control, I'm sure, reasons. Like I said, you got Francisco Morales, you got Dakota Chalmers. There's one other guy down there who's been doing all right. I can't remember his name, out of the bullpen. And I just want to say they used an automated balls and strikes tool in the minors. The umps don't call them.
Yeah.
They actually just made an announcement that they're going to introduce, they're still going to use an automated strike zone tool, but umpires are going to call balls and strikes. And then if a bad call is made, the catcher, pitcher, or batter can challenge it, like a replay challenge pretty much. And so that's, but regardless, that probably will change things a little bit, but the ABS numbers, the ABS system does screw with pitcher numbers a lot. It particularly results in lower strikeouts and higher, lower strikeouts, higher walks because of it. So pitchers that are high strikeout, high walk pitchers, when they come to the majors, the numbers, I was just listening to Sarah's talk about this, that pitchers who are high strikeout, high walk guys at AAA, when they've been coming up to the majors, have often been seeing a slight reduction in their strikeouts, but a massive reduction in their walks because of the strike zone being so different at the majors than it is at the minors.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you got Angel Hernandez calling that.
I love it that you know who that is.
I watch a lot of John Boy. Okay.
So on the plus side, with the bullpen, Luis Frias, who started the season with the Dbacks, right? As a relief pitcher. He pitched for a couple of weeks, then he got hurt, and he's returned from the injured list, and he was optioned to AAA for a pseudo rehab assignment. And
Pseudo?
yeah, so what I mean is there is actually, like, MLB has what's called a rehab assignment. It's where you can send Major League Baseball players to the minors when they're coming back from an injury to play in the minors in preparation for playing in the majors again, right? Well, Luis Frias got hurt when he was playing for the major league team, right? Luis Frias still has options left. And so sending a relief pitcher who is kind of a fringe reliever, though he does have upside. I like Luis Frias. He could be a good pitcher. This is the kind of thing a lot of Major League Baseball teams do to save money. How it works is Frias was injured while pitching for the Diamondbacks. So while he was on the injured list, he was receiving a major league salary, which is about $700,000 per year. Now, if they were to send him on a rehab assignment after coming off the injured list, he would still be getting a prorated $700,000 salary. It's actually like $740,000, I think.
Is that good?
Well, so by optioning him to AAA instead, he gets a prorated like $30,000 a year salary.
I'm guessing that's not good.
No. So by optioning him to AAA for his rehab instead of sending him on a minor league rehab assignment as a major league player, the team can save $10, $20, maybe $50,000 this season. It's not a lot of money. That's a rounding error for a Major League Baseball team, considering that the Diamondbacks probably are spending somewhere in the realm of just on personnel alone on field personnel, they're spending like $180,000 this year, and so $180 million. So like $20,000 is nothing. I don't get it. But they do this. Major league teams do this kind of stuff all the time. It's petty. There's a game theory component to it that I have to admit comes into play in a specific situation, which goes beyond kind of the few $1,000s that the team saved, and that is by being optioned. He's not getting days on the MLB roster, meaning that the team could get an extra year of control out of this decision. And being that Frias is youngish and shows some promise, I could see this being the reason. I doubt it, because yes, I am rightfully very cynical about the way MLB owners play these games with their young players, and by making moves to save money, like Frias being optioned instead of sent on a rehab assignment.
Hitting.
I'm going to put
mic.
my hands down here. So, also, Miguel Castro. Yes, that Miguel Castro with the super high knee-high socks. Thigh-high socks.
I saw him practice in the bullpen during spring training. They don't. And there was this guy who was showing the new tech about the thing the catchers put on their knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, so Miguel Castro is close to his own rehab assignment. He pitched, I believe, in a simulated game just a few days ago. Yeah, so they'll do oftentimes other guys who are injured. So like Alec Thomas right now, right? What is hurt. So that's a bad example because he was playing at AAA. But any players that are hurt, minor league players, major league players, doesn't matter. Anyone in the organization, what they'll do
What
is...
about Eduardo Rodriguez?
Sure, but he's another pitcher. I'm talking just hitters specifically. So in a simulated game, what Castro will do is he'll get up and he'll take the mound. They'll use a practice field, right? And he will pitch a game at full speed, full velocity, full effort, just like everything that he does. With the catcher, they're going to call signs. They're going to work the batter just like they do. And then another player who's injured and is kind of trying to work his way back, he's going to take at bats. So he's going to go in there. He's going to go through a full count trying to hit the ball and get it off him. And Castro has to get 3 outs, or they have a max pitch number. And so he threw 23 pitches in a simulated game the other day. And so it's just a simulated appearance when you're Miguel Castro. That's all it is. So he's close to, he could possibly return to the team by the end of the month. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts a rehab assignment here this weekend. He gets into a game at AAA or at Low A, and he might be back, like I said, by the end of the month or soon, early in July, I would expect at the latest, as long as he doesn't have a setback. Let's move on to the offense, huh? That offense we were talking about. So they've certainly been in the month of June so far more consistent versus both handed pitchers. That said, they're still absolutely demolishing left-handed pitchers to a degree that puts them firmly in the top 10, maybe as high as number 2 after today, because they faced a starting pitcher and put up 5 runs against him. And he was a good starting lefty. It would probably put Mackenzie Gore somewhere around the 10th to 15th best left-handed pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Oh, wow.
Starting pitcher. And so, yeah, he's very good. And that said, they faced Patrick Corbin, former D-back Patrick Corbin, yesterday, who I have no hesitation about calling him the worst left-handed pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Oh.
Yeah, and he held the team to 1 run in 7 innings. So I didn't see that coming. Baseball. That's what it did. That's what it's like.
What?
Yeah. They did. They kind of picked apart the really good left-handed pitcher and the really bad left-handed pitcher. Kind of picked them apart. And yeah, that's what baseball's such a weird random game like that. Randall Grichuk, talking about the team versus left-handed pitching, how they've been crushing it. Randall Grichuk, in particular, he's been exactly as advertised and predicted by us, frankly, at the beginning of this, during spring training when they signed him, or even before they signed him, when we were talking about them signing a right-handed hitting outfielder to take some DH and play right field. Grichuk was the guy that we said, this would be the best pickup. He is literally the best hitter over the last 3 seasons versus left-handed pitching of anybody on this list or anybody who even has played for the Diamondbacks. And he has been it again. He's absolutely been the best hitter on the team by OPS versus left-handed pitching. He's just been awesome. And then I also want to throw out some roses to Jake McCarthy, because he has been a super pleasant surprise. He's a left-handed hitter, right? He's a lefty, and typically lefties struggle versus lefties. And he has been on absolute fire. I think I had heard he's got something like a 430 or 440, maybe 450 batting average versus lefties so far this season, which is insane. So he's done most of his damage on the season versus lefties. And now I do want to point out that Jake McCarthy is not some outlier of a hitter that he's a left-handed batter who hits lefties better than righties. When Jake McCarthy's career is over, I'd be willing to put a large sum of money on him having a better OPS versus right-handed pitchers than left-handed pitchers for his career. That said, he's on a nice run right now. He's doing great. Every season, though, there are a handful of left-handed batters who hit left-handed pitchers better, and sometimes by a wide margin. Like Jake McCarthy has been really, really good against left-handed pitchers so far this season as a left-handed hitter. Probably one of the best in all of Major League Baseball, frankly. And whereas not named Shohei Ohtani. And or Yordan Alvarez. There's a few guys out there, but he's probably been one of the best. And it's a really fun story. But every time that this comes up, that some left-handed hitter hits left-handed pitching better than right-handed pitching, it gets talked about how. And if I recall correctly, I haven't heard this talked about in the last few years, but in all of MLB history, there's only been one left-handed hitter with at least 2,000 plate appearances in their career that had an OPS versus left-handed pitchers higher than their OPS versus right-handed pitchers. Would you like to take a guess who that is? All right, you don't even need a guess because I know you don't know who this person is. His name was Ichiro Suzuki.
Oh, I know him.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think he retired maybe before you were born.
Yeah, he played baseball.
Yeah, he did play baseball at a very high level. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's
in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. He was a lefty, and he had the craziest swing I've ever seen. He had, I believe if you combine the number of hits he had in Japan, in the Japan Nippon League, and you combine that with the number of hits he had in Major League Baseball, I believe he has the most hits in professional baseball history.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but he slapped lefties, just slapped them to death. And so that's it. But that's the only guy I think. I didn't go and fact check this, but I think that's the only guy who's ever done that over a whole career of at least 2,000 plate appearances. So Jake won't keep it up, but like I said, it's super fun seeing him do that. He got 3 more hits today versus a left-hander. He's been great. It's awesome. And like I said, Jake has a play style that's very similar to the way that I play. He's way better, but I mean, versus the level of,
Makes
appropriate
$1 million.
competition. Yeah.
There's a lot of
close to $1 million.
contrast
Yeah.
between you two.
Thanks. He has great flowing hair. I got this. I get it.
Does he have a son?
I don't
A son who wears a hat all the time?
I don't know. Yeah, you're pretty much like a turtle with that thing. It's your shell. It's on you everywhere.
Yeah, I lost the other shell.
Yeah, I love that one though. Okay, so you're more like a crayfish. Yeah, you live in it.
I live in it. I literally do.
Yeah.
I sleep with it.
So in regards to the, sometimes, I mean, it definitely is laying right next to you if it's not on your head
Yeah.
while you sleep. So we're talking about the offense a little bit more. They've been improved versus right-handed pitching in June, as they've been about a league average offense so far this month, as I mentioned earlier. But for the season, they're still firmly below average to bad for the season as a whole. And pretty much the entire improvement for the team for the month of June is due to one player.
And that is Corbin Carroll.
That's right.
Rookie of the year last year.
Yep, 2023 Rookie of the Year, Corbin Carroll. So, yeah, he's riding a 19-game on-base streak right now. That's pretty sweet. Woo, Corbin. He has massively lowered his strikeouts this month, which you could kind of look at. You could kind of see this. I'm just going to tell you who are listening, but he had 22 strikeouts to 15 walks in the first month. And then he announced towards the end of April that he needs to change his swing, that it's too flat, right? And you can see in May when he was trying to work out the kinks of that new swing, he had 27 strikeouts to only 9 walks. For Corbin Carroll, that's ridiculous. So far in June, he has 10 walks to only 7 strikeouts. He has more walks than strikeouts. And so
Wowzers.
that part's amazing. Like, what an incredible turnaround. His walks are about where they were in April, but his strikeouts, he might finish the month with half the amount of strikeouts that he had in April while keeping his walks at the same level. So he still has no home runs in the entire month of June. But he's hit a lot of doubles and a lot of triples. His OPS is looking great. His slug is looking pretty good. Just because while he doesn't have any home runs, he does have a ton of triples and doubles. Almost half of his hits have been extra base hits, just not home runs.
Just because he's fast.
Well,
much.
that and he's got that flat swing. Even though it's not as flat as it was in April, it's still pretty flat. He's just going to have to deal with that probably for the rest of the season, and then in the off season, work on getting that attack angle back up to 30-ish degrees. Or at least like 27, 28, 29 degrees, because it's just too flat right now. And when you're coming at the ball so flat like he is, it's really hard to get the ball elevated. If you've noticed, a lot of his hits are just line drives right through the gap. I mean, he's smashing that ball so hard, but it barely gets itself off the ground. He barely gets it up in the air. So that's kind of, he just needs to figure that part out. Probably in the off season, and for the time being, he'll probably finish the season with, I'm sure he'll hit more home runs just because he's hitting the ball better. He'll probably get himself up to like 10, maybe 12 home runs on the whole season, but nowhere near where he was in probably not even 12. I would probably set the over under for home runs at like 9.5 for his season. But he's at this pace, he might set a doubles record. We'll see with how fast he is. So Corbin Carroll, even because he's not hitting home runs, I'm not going to say he's back, but he certainly looks like he's on his way, and that part's awesome. And it's been great to have him at the top of that lineup. And so, just a couple of other transaction updates. Alec Thomas, center fielder extraordinaire.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on the IL for almost the entire year so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he played in 5 games to start the season or something like that. Mm-hmm. And
I don't even remember his face anymore.
Right. He had a little bit of a setback. Tori just referred to it as general soreness, and it's probably just he hasn't played baseball, and he played baseball, and now he's sore. Because I know when I go out for my first baseball game of the season every year, for like the next 4 days, I could barely walk. It's just so, you probably feel the same way when you go out for your first football game of the season.
I do a lot of activities.
That's true. So yeah, granted, I work out, but when you play sports, it's just a whole different type of muscle groups getting used. So
I played racquetball this week. Oh my God. Today I feel it.
Yeah, you just went yesterday, actually.
Oh yeah, yesterday. Yeah. I just wanted to lay in my bed.
You were just getting home from playing racquetball at this time yesterday. So also, I talked about Logan Allen, right? We talked about him getting smoked as the bulk man. He got smoked so bad, the Diamondbacks DFA'd him. Because he's out of options. So they couldn't waive him. They had to designate him for assignment, which meant that they released him. after they released him.
Yeah, I remember you talked about that when we were going to Mom's birthday dinner.
Yeah, so I think just yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, the D-backs re-signed Logan Allen to another minor league contract. And so he's back with the Reno Aces in AAA for the D-backs.
Oh.
And, probably because there's a fair chance that he gets called back up at some point for the D-backs, especially as long as as long as Zach Gallen is out. I mean, Logan Allen's as good of option for bulk innings as anybody. So I was going to talk a little bit about some early trade early trade discussion, early trade deadline discussion. That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what they should be aiming for, but we're already at an hour and I don't want to do this. I'm going to put this on the back trade burner, the back of the hot stove, where it's the warm stove, and we'll get to it next week. So anything that you're excited for that you really want to watch for in the next week ahead, Phoenix?
For the D-backs to get to 500 or more.
Yes. Go D-backs. Do it.
Do it.
Yeah, that's actually probably the biggest thing, frankly. I have other stuff in mind, but I should have just said that, because if they can get back to 500, they got the Phillies next. That's going to be tough. The Phillies in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They don't have to face Ranger Suarez, which is good because Ranger Suarez has been the best pitcher in baseball this season somehow. And but they do have to face, and they also don't face Nola, but they do face Wheeler. Those are kind of their three amazing pitchers. Wheeler more so than Nola. Wheeler is closer to Suarez than, but they still got. But then they don't have to face Nola, who's their third best pitcher. And then so they get to face their 2, 4, and 5 best pitchers in this series. So that'll be really. That's beneficial that they are going to have realistic shots. Also, one of the pitchers that they're facing is left-handed, so they'll be able to put their best lineup out there.
All right.
I say best lineup. Obviously, it's missing Jock, but the lineup versus the type of pitcher, the handedness of pitcher that they are better against is a better way to put it. Because as good as Jock is against right-handed pitching, Grichuk is just as good against left-handed pitching.
You did it again. Jock is.
So yeah, but I love it. Get back to 500 versus the Phillies here. That would be amazing if they were able to take 2 out of 3 versus the Phillies in Philadelphia.
Do it.
I am looking forward to, because I gotta believe it's happening this week at some point in the next hopefully 3-4 days. Zach Gallen returns triumphantly to the mound.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yes, please, Zach, we need you. And then Frias and Castro returning. It's not right now, but sometime in the near future. I am genuinely interested in how Vieiro pitches until those guys come back, because there's a possibility, there's a world in which Vieiro pitches so well that Frias never comes back up this season. That just Castro comes back. Castro is definitely going to be on the major league roster. When Castro returns, that's going to really, really lengthen that bullpen. That's going to be huge. That means they're really only going to have 2 dead spots out there with it's going to be great. And then Carroll continuing his return. I like that.
Yes.
I want to see that continue to happen. Maybe even pop a home run sometime here.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
Triples are always good too.
yeah, triples are good. They're more fun. They don't impact the game as well, but they're definitely more fun watching a guy go for a triple, especially Carroll. He's so short and he's so fast.
Yeah.
Usually, like, the really fast guys are kind of tall, but he's not, and he is fast. He's so fast. Watching him run is so goofy. It's like Ellie De La Cruz, who's like 6'7", and it's like 4 steps, and he runs from first base to second base when he tries to and he leads the league in steals. He actually might have the most steals if he keeps up this pace. He's going to have the most steals in a season by a Major League Baseball player since like 1989 or something.
Didn't an A's player get that?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That was, back in, I think Ricky Henderson in 89 was the last guy to steal 100 bases.
Crazy.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And so yeah. But watching De La Cruz steal bases, like I said, he takes like 4 steps and he's on second base. It's so bizarre. But then you watch Corbin Carroll and his little 5'9" self running around the field, and he's just moving everything so fast. Like Cruz doesn't have to move stuff fast because he's just big, right?
It looks like Speedy Gonzalez.
Yes, exactly. It's and his helmet's always flying off, and his hair is just going because it's going so quick. I absolutely love it. And then the other thing that I want more of this season is mid-game interviews with the announcement booth, with the TV booth by Jock Peterson. I just really love listening to Jock Peterson talk about baseball. It's so entertaining. He's absolutely, I mean, we've got Perdomo's a vibes guy for sure, and we know that, but Jock Peterson's such an awesome vibes guy. Totally different type of vibes guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Jock doesn't even know the names of any of his teammates. But it's not
like that 44 is rounding second.
But he's just like a baseball savant, and he's just got such a he's legitimately the most laid back dude I have ever heard talked to on a Major League Baseball field. I've watched a lot of baseball in my 40-something years of life, and I don't think I've ever heard a dude just totally chill all the time as Jock Peterson is. He is just
Pearls.
Yep. So, all right, with that, We've gone on long enough. Thank you for listening to the end. Please, once again, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to us by podcast, please leave us a review. We've actually got a handful of reviews out there, which is awesome. I appreciate that. And then, Charlie, you're in a kindergartner, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So with that, let's give him a hearty, because it's been a hearty Dbacks week. Let's give him a hearty nerding on the Dbacks. Ready? Da 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 da.
Nerding.
Da 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 da. On the. Da 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 da.
Dbacks. Woo!
All right, bye.
We really held up.